Welcome guys. We are going to explore drawing this nose today, and you will need some Prismacolors. Now, the first thing I want to explain to you is this picture that's been printed is a 2 by 2.5. So I have made my box a 3 by 3.5. So please, at this time, take your ruler and measure out a nice 90-degree corner box. You can use your note card or anything that's got 90-degree angles as a square tool to get your box nice and neat. Okay? No sloppy boxes. Now, in order to get the grid on here, you're going to use your straight edge. So you can pause this video if you need to draw your box, and we can catch up in a minute. But right now I'm going to continue drawing the X grid. I think of this as a to X grid, which we will be using more of. It must go corner to corner. So you can see right here, it's just pretend like it does. Make sure that it's over. Now it's really, you can't really guess where the middle is. You really do have to use your ruler. So what is half of 3? It is 1.5. So check and make sure that that is accurate. A good guess. Can't always count. Sure, you've got your nice, perfect vertical line. Now, when you're drawing a beautiful portrait, you want to draw your grid really light. This is a little bit dark. So with any grid, you want to be able to take it off to where it's not there. They're not something you want in your final product. They're great tools, but like I said, we don't want it to be part of our final product. Fractions. All right, so if we have 3.5, let's just take it basics. If we go 1.5 and then add a quarter, that will give you the center. That's just my little math trick because I'm really not that great at math. 3.5, just divided in half, would be right here at 1 3/4 is where we want to go. So, all right, let's see how that looks. Get another grid on here. Now the last one is super easy. It's just a diamond shape. All right, remember, always be mindful to draw your grid light. It may look dark in the video, but as long as we can get rid of it. Diamond shape, it's this beautiful diamond right here. Let's go ahead and go. I call this the X, and then I call this one the crosshairs. So we're going to the points of the crosshairs. Grids need to be invisible. After you get your contour drawing, you can take your grid off, and then we can start talking about monochromatic color here. Got the camera right here, so I can't really get my ruler to do all the things I want it to. Alright, so this is close enough. Now we are going to use this grid just like you started with the contour drawing before. You know, really just kind of looking at jelly bean shape, whatever you can find, the triangle in here to try to, you know, use, I call it guess and check method. We're not always going to get it right the first try. I like to kind of just slap some lines down on there and then perfect them later. You can mark where things go. You know, like look at this tiny little triangle. You know, maybe we need to scoop this nose bridge up a little bit. Now, I know some of you guys have never drawn anything like this before, so you don't want to go as fast as I am. You're going to want to pause intermittently. I'm just trying to make this video not be 30 minutes long. So right now we're at 4 minutes and 4.5 minutes. So give yourself little hints like this is the ball of the nose. The jelly bean shape almost touches this line over here. Give yourself some grace. This is going to come to life with shading. So the contour lines can look, you know, awkward, and we can fix it. Because like right here, this is a shadow of a triangle, but I don't want to do that in graphite. I just want to mark it. We can make it look good later. So I'll go ahead and take this ball off. Shadow here, eye corner, right over tear duct, and brow. Go ahead and do the contour of the face. So look at this contour of the face. Do this sliver right here. If y'all want to play connect the dots, putting marks. So I'm looking at the image. Now, this is not a round circle. This is an ellipse. So let's look at that for a second, and let's look at the shape of this shadow. It's like a curved triangle. Let's take a look at that now. Let's put a little mark here because, you know, we're going to dark later, but let's look at the shape of this eyelid coming across. And match those arches. These are little rainbow arches or frowny faces. Try and associate shapes that make sense to you. Now, you can take a look at this little tiny area that goes through here. Oh, it's an ellipse, it's squished. Same with the pupil. For the highlight right there, tip of the nose looks like it needs some work. It's got like a little sliver that goes over here. I think I over-exaggerated that, so let's just make it a sliver. If I'm not mistaken. Look up do a reverse image search. Yes. This looks nice though. Okay, so we've got some highlights right here. Now, if you do want to mark your highlights, really, we don't want to have any lines there. We know that they're there. Don't outline your highlights. That's just going to look bad. Now, this archway that goes up into the brow, there's no line right here, but there's a shadow right there. We can see that shadow line. I'm just going to lightly outline. Okay. Now, I'm mostly happy with where all my contour lines are. I mean, maybe we need a little bit of this brow right there. But for the most part, these X-grid lines got to come off. Okay. Don't want them to show, especially in your final product. Now, if you pushed super hard, as you should not have, then they might turn into ghost lines. They might come back to haunt you later. So that'll be something we can look forward to, right? Ghost lines are bad. Monochromatic. So after you about blues or greens, I don't know. Wish y'all were here to tell me which color you wanted. I am going to do blue. And I didn't really mark this eye. Oh my gosh, how could I forget? How could I whole eye? I'm so sorry. I was so focused on that eye. Quite that much that's showing. Let's take some of that off. We just have big old tear duct in the corner here, taking up most of this eyeball. Bottom line, if it's not there, don't draw it. Alright? I tried to draw it, but you know what? It's really not there. There's no line right there. I know our brain thinks there's a line right there. Just don't do it if it's not there. Don't draw lines that don't exist. That's what I always say. So we don't want too much graphite on here if we're doing color pencil. So we gotta figure out how to define this lighter nose with this darker cheek without having a heavy outline. That is the challenge, okay? So, and eye socket right there. Let's just go ahead and take off. no point in doing anything unless we do it perfectly correct. Alright, so erasing, let's see what we can get. Now, you're going to want to have a sharpener and your blues. Now, violet would technically make this more analogous, but you know, maybe just for fun we can use the violet. So technically, if it's monochromatic and it's coming from the 12 set in the art kit, you're supposed to have, well, then we'll just use these colors. Now, if your teacher has some specialty colors later, like if you're doing a project like this for vase, then, you know, ask for the light blue or light aqua. Okay, it's PC992. That's a bonus color. This is the standard PC903 and PC933. Okay, so technically with color pencil, I never do anything without putting a little bit of neutrals first. So I am going to use a little bit of neutrals first because we don't want to have pure color on here. It's not going to be pretty if it's pure color. Pure color is no fun. So love it or hate it, but I am going to add some neutrals first. Indigo is a wonderful neutral to use, but I don't have that one right now. Oh, you guys don't have that one. Your teacher can give you one. Indigos are great. Ask your teacher for an indigo. I'm going to off without it because mixing actually the dark brown and this PC933 have an indigo. This one is a replacement for that. Now, never, ever, ever really do any kind of shading without your pencil being sharpened. But right now, all I'm doing is I am aiming for anything that's dark on my photo. This is not a graphite shaded project, but I can use my brown, my neutral, just like I would graphite. Now, if your pencil's dull, this is going to come out pretty lumpy. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, I can't do it. And I'm going to say, well, that's because you didn't sharpen your pencil to a needle sharpened point. So look at the difference in quality of shading with me sharpening my pencil. Sure, it was somewhat sharp before, but now it's nice and it's going to come out smooth like butter, right? So I am going rather fast because we are already at 12 minutes in this video. So pause intermittently if needed. Just aiming for darker areas because if I put pure blue down, it's not going to look realistic. So I am putting base values down in brown. So just a thin, this is dark, this is light. So I have to take away the brightness of the paper and add a nice little base. Now I'm hatching from the nose, I'm barely touching the paper. So that looks lovely now, so that's what it's going to look like if you guys don't take it off. Slightly lighter down here, so we really want to pay attention to that. Think of this as your value shading. Graphite line. Now graphite and Prisma together equal ugly, smudgy, smudgy, so technically there really shouldn't be any graphite smudging into your Prisma. Now I did go in two different directions. That's because my wrist, really wanted to switch, but I'm so sorry for these interruptions. So what I want you to do is focus on the values. Focus on nice, smooth hatching. Focus on getting rid of that gray. On value matching everywhere. White of the paper, white of the eye. Having a cap eraser or something that can get fine details erased is great. Making this monochromatic, you're probably asking yourself again, if you weren't paying attention, why are we using brown? We're using brown because pure color is too much pigment. Now I want to make that iris a little bit bigger. I just know better at this point to really stretch it. So I am using the PC946. It is the dark brown. So we do not want a hard line here. We just want this value on this cheek and under this eye to define that edge. More texture in here. Unfortunately, the grid is showing, so hopefully that's not going to happen for you guys. This, and I'm looking at this, and look at what I'm seeing. Corner of the X. This is the X. I'm sure you noticed this already earlier in my video. I was really neglecting that eye. So line up these two. It's got to be right. Maybe my box is a little wide. It's a little low. Shadow shape right here. Always add more pencil. Taping off is the hard part. There's a little bit of a water line here where the lashes are. This is a lash shadow here. So if you wanted to kind of understand what's going on there. A lot of little details in here. Look at how the iris and all the way through. Almost sent the blue on the side. So now we gotta get this switch on. I was showing, but you know what? We're really supposed to be focusing on the nose here, so socket. Okay, so now for monochrome time. Okay, so in the dark areas, we're going to use the dark blue. In the light areas, we're going to use the light blue. So let's go over the dark area. Let's see if we can make this happen again. It's nice if you turn your paper in crosshatch. I kind of can't do that because of the camera. Crosshatching really extends all the little tubes. So I'm taking the dark blue over the browns. Light blue. I kind of, for this shadow, I just want to put a little bit here. let's start making it monochromatic with this pretty true blue. Let's just see what happens. This is my first time doing this, so bear with me. That's a little bit heavy right there, so check the color there. Just work with the wacky line right there. Too heavy. Gotta be careful, this can smudge pretty badly. Have a highlight right there. Almost done. I think that some smoothing and burnishing on these papers is basically as much as you're going to get. Now, like I was saying, if you can get this specialty color that's in the larger packs, it's kind of nice to go over it with this color to like smooth it. Offering it's a little bit darker up here too. That frames out the around the nose. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of this in there. We're gonna put your brown back out. Through. So sometimes it takes multiple layers of what we coats of brown. So I feel like it's kind of necessary. Kind of dulls it down a little bit. We're getting closer and closer. The more you mess with this, the better it's going to look. This is just an experiment. Our independent projects or other portraits that we'll do. If color speaks to you, then this is. So there's definitely like more details that could be added. This video is already at 37 minutes. What? With colored pencil this year. So with color pencils, so want to make sure that it looks correct. There's some smudging in here, like turquoise, but I don't have access to it. a little lighter straw right here. Where the light on eye, go decorating your eye, but for the most part, I'm going to now, if that does happen, like what I just did, right, now, not really blending with the white on the technically can choose with the white. It's properly. It's a little too bright right there now. Spot. If this was your vase project and you messed up on the eye, I would probably just fix it with acrylic paint or something. Show you how to erase with acrylic paint, but for the most part, this is as far as we're going to go. So be careful.